Hi there, my name is Lara Waldman and I'm a healer and a freedom coach. And today I'd like to tell you about my business meetings with God. So many years ago, I made a vow, I made a promise to always follow my intuition. Now, this is a practice of moving from a place beyond the ego, beyond the personality self, and connecting to a higher power. This is the universe, source energy, God, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. I see you as a part of that energy, that you are connected to all that is. So it's ultimately accessing a part of yourself as well. But this is what I refer to as the all-seeing, all-knowing part of you. And what I've learned is that by following and listening to this part of you, to your higher self, this higher power, life becomes a whole lot smoother. Our ego creates a whole lot of problems for us. And it is my experience that it is best to calm the ego down and move forward through life from greater awareness, a greater level of consciousness. So what I do is every single day, as part of my meditation practice, I tune in. I call it my business meetings with God. So I ask for guidance. I ask to be led. I ask to be told what the next step is. Because Lara, personality self, has all sorts of ideas, has all sorts of thoughts about what should or shouldn't be. And when I tune in, when I go into meditation and I start asking to connect to higher wisdom or consciousness, it's amazing what comes through. Sometimes the things that I thought were a brilliant idea, I get guided not to do. And then sometimes I get guided to do the things that, I would have done everything in my power to avoid. Like, for example, doing these videos at first was just the last thing I wanted to do, but I was very strongly guided to do them. So I've found that moving through life in this way, by being led, by following your inner guidance system, by following your intuition, by following the guidance from source, from the universe, life just becomes so much easier. It doesn't mean that there aren't challenges, but there's greater ease through life. Rather than being bashed about and lots of ups and downs, it's like gliding more gracefully and smoothly through life. So yeah, it doesn't mean it's not hard sometimes, but there's greater ease. So I highly recommend this way of moving forward. One of the things is following your intuition, following your inner guidance doesn't always make sense. I get told stuff sometimes. I don't understand with my logical mind why I'm being led to do something or why I'm being guided not to do something. But I've learned to trust this, and in time it usually makes sense. In time it's clear. So for me, I get so much comfort from this guidance because I've really learned that, one, it's got my back, it's unconditional love, and it has a 360-degree view of life. It can see the full picture, where me and my ego and my personality self and my, in my mind cannot perceive the full picture. But when I tap into the intuition, I ask for guidance, I can see a much bigger picture and have a greater awareness and greater perspective. So how do you do this? How do you connect to your intuition? How do you tap into your inner guidance and have your business meetings with God? Well, it is a practice, and really it's just about trusting yourself, because from my experience and point of view, this is your true nature. This is our true nature. We can all do this. But first we need to learn to calm some of the noise down. So the very first practice is meditation, where you spend time every day to stop and be, and to create space for your mind, your body to process everything that's been going on, all the noise, all the stimulus, to find greater peace. So what I do first is I meditate and make sure my mind is balanced and there's peace and there's been more stillness before I tune in and ask questions. Now, everyone gets inner guidance and intuition in different ways. For me, I see pictures, I hear, it's sort of my inner voice, I suppose you could call it. I feel, and sometimes I just get a knowing. So there's different levels of gathering information, and you need to figure out what is your way, how you perceive your intuition. It's not always super obvious. It can be a bit more on the subtle levels, which is why we need to kind of quiet our mind and go within so we can learn to listen and tap in. So first is the practice. So I recommend first getting a great meditation practice where you're sitting long enough to find greater stillness and peace in your mind. Sometimes that takes like up to half an hour, so you got to give it a little bit of time. And then once you feel yourself more settled, more aligned, more peace in yourself, then you can start asking questions. You can ask to be guided, ask to be led by your higher self, by your intuition, by source, by God, whatever you want to call it. And ask to be told what's the next best step for you in your life. And then ask that the message is really clear. Ask that this message is communicated to you in a way that you can really feel or get. And yeah, you need to ask for guidance because you will have your own unique way of getting your inner guidance. And then trust. So you may get all sorts of interesting ideas, but really it's probably something you've known deep down inside. We get intuition hits all the time, but we ignore them because, well, one, we might be guided to be doing something that's scary or uncomfortable, or we might think, oh, so that's a silly thought, I'll poo-poo that. But really our intuition's with us all the time. We just don't listen to it, we ignore it, and we might follow more of one of our ego impulses or what we think we should be doing, or from our family pressure or societal pressure. There's so much noise around us that can't stop us from following what's right for us. Like for me, I got this message when I first started meditating that I was a healer. I had no idea what a healer was. I had a sense it was something to do with my hands, but I'd never come across anything like the work that I do now before. So it was completely new and wacky and weird. It still is, but I like that now. And if I'd gone with my logical mind, there's no way I ever would have gone into the work that I've gone into. And, you know, it doesn't always make sense, but it's about following and trusting and seeing what happens. And it's an amazing journey. I find it such a reassuring tool, reassuring thing to know that no matter what's going on, you can tap in. So I use this all the time, especially when there's conflict or challenge, like if any challenges come up in a relationship, if I have any triggers, I'll sit and meditate, calm the trigger down, and ask for guidance about the best way to deal with this situation. It's always, you know, peaceful. It's always balanced. Intuition will never be fear-based. Intuition will never be hurtful or violent. It will always be for the greatest good of everyone concerned. You may be guided to set really clear boundaries and say no, but it can come from love, from a place of kindness. So intuition always feels good. But it's not always comfortable. So I've been guided and led to do so many things that I haven't wanted to do, but it's all led to great things. So you have choice. You don't have to follow your intuition, but from my experience, this is the navigation system through life. And it creates so much greater ease. And it's like the smooth journey rather than the really challenging, bumpy one. So I use following my intuition for everything, but especially working with my business. That's why I call it my business meetings with God, because I am totally led by source in everything that I do. And I just follow that. And it's really important because my head will get in the way and my head will decide X, Y, and Z. And then when I tune in, it's either not the right time or it's not that important or something that I've been putting off. It's like, do it now. It's usually the thing I'm most scared to do. I get guided to do right away. And so that's my navigation system through my work. But it's also with health, with the food I'm eating, the choices I'm making, where I even go on a holiday. There's so many ways that you can be led. And, you know, just know that you still have choice. You have choice. That's one of the amazing things about this planet and this experience here. But if you're looking for greater ease and greater peace, greater joy, greater freedom, I highly recommend starting to practice tapping into your intuition, because this practice will lead you towards just greatness beyond what you can imagine with your mind. our mind is very limited in what it can perceive. And our intuition is multidimensional. It can tap into infinite wisdom, where our mind, it can't. So it just feels so much better if nothing else. So if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to get in touch with me. I'd be really happy to help you. This is a big subject and it takes practice. It takes time really just to trust in it. You've got it all there now. You can do it now. It's just a matter of trusting it. So maybe start with some small things to play with, like, you know, the food and drink you're eating and drinking, asking your body what it would like to eat. That's a really fun place to start, because it's not such a, you know, such massive decisions. And then when you have to make big decisions, once you feel confident about following your intuition, that will be easy for you. If you start trying to follow your intuition when you have a really big decision to make, that can be a little bit daunting. So you can start with the small stuff. Anyways, please feel free to contact me. Like I said, if you have any questions or if you want to ask me anything, I'd be very happy to support you. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.